Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. We've heard a lot recently about Disney's sort of Star Wars future. There's a really interesting article with The Hollywood Reporter, which you read the headline or title of this video. It posits that REY is, quote, Star Wars' quote, most valuable cinematic asset, end quote. Which is just absurd. I mean, that's what? They talk about how Star Wars wants to mine nostalgia from insider sources as well. Yeah, they don't have any nostalgia because they chose to kill it all off. It really just displays how fundamentally Kathleen Kennedy is mismanaging the property. And so I thought we'd just take a look at it. It was released yesterday. It's an interesting piece. So we'll take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Do turn those bell notifications on. Got a lot of people that watch these videos that are not subscribed. So I have to ask, because when I do ask, we do get some subscribers dropping on. And it really does help out. So let's take a look, right? All that ramble out the way. Star Wars movies race for REY and the future of the franchise on the big screen. And like I said, all of this almost feels like a projectional delusion. So it's like they're trying to manifest this delusion in the audience. Hollywood Reporter and Disney and Lucasfilm all have this bizarre sort of obsession with REY as a character. Kathleen Kennedy obviously loves her because it's her self-insert character. But they obviously have this obsession. They must know that the audience has no affinity for this character at all. Like no one really cares about seeing her again. There isn't a curiosity. There's not an innate desire to see what she's up to next. People are happy with that being over, right? But they've sort of manifested this delusion, or they're trying to manifest this joint delusion that we could all partake in, that we love REY. It's very bizarre. It's really, really weird. And you see it from the outset, right? Forget the Death Star. The most coveted weapon in the Star Wars movie arsenal is a character of Rey Skywalker. Is it? Is it? According to whom? Since the November 7th reveal that Simon Kinberg had signed on to develop and write and produce a new Star Wars trilogy. That's right, if you missed that news. Lucasfilm's making a new Star Wars trilogy. The debate has focused on whether or not it would be a continuation of the so-called 9-film Skywalker saga, tying it to the legacy of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader and storylines first laid out by George Lucas. The reason for the debate is that the new hoped-for trilogy would feature REY in some form or fashion. Ah, right. The centre of everything. Some fans have expressed criticism that Lucasfilm would return to the well to make episodes, as they are called, beyond the 9 movies that comprises the Skywalker story, which had been billed as concluding with 2019's Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. That film grossed just over $1 billion globally, but also wasn't received well by much of the fan base. It was received terribly, and it lost loads of money by comparison to what the first entry of that trilogy had generated. It was a disaster, actually, financially. But REY, the scavenger turned Jedi played by Daisy Ridley in their last 3 episodes, is the key to the franchise's next turn. Is it? Is she? What? That potentially puts Kinberg's trilogy story development, as early in its conceptual stages as it may be, on a collision course with the REY standalone movie that is actively in the works with director Sharmina Bay-Chinoy. What? This is so strange. They tried to say that there's a writer on, a search for a new writer for that movie as well, by the way, but I doubt that. But check this out. Perhaps that's why Lucasfilm was receptive to Kinberg's multi-story pitch. Anything to move REY forward. But it does engender rumours in the Star Wars underground of filmmakers jostling for characters. Ridley, for her part, recently told The Hollywood Reporter, "I feel like the new ones will be so interesting. Time has passed and a lot has changed for me personally. So it'll be interesting to come back to someone who I know so well, but in such a different moment." Whilst insiders dispute the notion that there is a battle for REY, there definitely is internal deliberation within Lucasfilm as to what to do with the heir to Skywalker next. She's not a Skywalker, she's a Palpatine. Right? trying to make it a thing. No one cares. Quote, she is the most valuable cinematic asset, in some ways maybe the only one Star Wars has right now. I'd say Grogu is, to be honest. And they do go on to say that Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian and Grogu are Disney Plus creations and will have their big screen power tested with a feature directed by Jon Favreau. Sure, but they're still more valuable as an asset than Rey. According to sources, Rey is set to play a role in several movies that are being developed, although which ones remains unclear. Star Wars movie development has been under scrutiny for several years, with Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy taking fire for not developing meaningful characters beyond those first created by Lucas prior to the sale to Disney. Yeah, because she can't. And if the franchise looks forward in its canon timeline, all those beloved characters Luke, Leia, Vader, Obi-Wan, Yoda and Han are dead, or had their storylines wrapped in prequels or spin-offs. Rey, created in the post-Lucas era, is arguably the only entity with currency on the big screen now. The closet is a little bare, said another source. How is she? She doesn't have any currency. No one likes her as a character. She's terrible. How bizarre. What the Kinberg hiring lays bare is that development of movies at the company remains its own unique ecosystem in Hollywood. There are numerous Star Wars movies being developed that overlap characters or timelines. So they're not... That sounds like chaos behind the scenes. That sounds like absolute chaos, doesn't it? Multiple stories being developed, multiple movies being developed, multiple characters just crossing over. We don't know what's going on. There's no one keeping track of anything. What a pile of shit. They are not related, but whatever one were to come out first could, in a domino effect, then impact the ones after it. Wow, what a terrible way to make films. Some Lucasfilm directors are aware of what others are working on, while others are not. For instance, Taika Waititi is working on a Star Wars movie. Sean Levy has a feature project in the works, and Donald Glover's Lando idea has moved over development from TV to film. A Rogue Squadron project is still in development as a feature. Is it though? Is it though? It's a different way of development, says an insider. There's so much parallel work going on. That sounds like chaos. And it's clearly not conducive to good results. Because we've not had anything good. It also points to the unique nature of Star Wars. To fans, and in this case filmmakers and producers, it is not a brand or a franchise, but something akin to a religion. Unlike Marvel or DC, with decades of stories propelling them forward, or even Harry Potter, with 7 fleshed out books, Star Wars at its core has been the original George Lucas movies, and nothing has been codified or been made more canonical in modern times than those 3 movies. And then they say, you're being asked to create the New Testament, and no one can agree on anything, and there's a lot of second guessing about meanings. What a shit show. Another source familiar with the process is more business-minded, noting Star Wars is a nostalgia-based enterprise, and they're running out of ways to create nostalgia, because they killed off all the other characters. Dipshits. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just continues. It's mental. To make standalone movies or continue the Skywalker saga in any form is a fundamental question the company faces as it tries to move things forward. This is a disaster. But remember, whatever happens, Rey is the most valuable cinematic asset Lucasfilm has. What do you think of that? Let me know down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.